Careful, or we'll get thrown out of the pub. We're all ready.
Ado, welcome.
You, my friend, need some water.
Found the machine. Oh, I heard there was a new arrival, but I didn't expect a godlike. Welcome to our modest workshop. Giada, what a loss. I owe that young woman more than I could ever repay. Unfortunately, I cannot do a lick of research while my equipment is underpowered and overworked. Ha! A novel idea, that. What I need is a stronger power source. Perhaps, if you can help me find an appropriate battery of essence. I could use a large single block of Ultra, but harvesting it is difficult in this environment. Oh, wait. One of our rangers reported that an Adragon recently died in a western grove. Indeed, but that well is almost dry. I need more. An Adragon's heart can hold an immense amount of essence. The grove is to the west, across a chasm. You can't miss it. The rangers say a Delamgan queen holds court there. You may be able to retrieve it without violence, but most Delamgan in these parts are hostile to Keith. So, you can understand why none of us went rushing over there to find it when we heard the Adragon had died. Still, Delamgan queens can be reasoned with, so if you want to get the heart peacefully, try not to kill her guards. Do be careful. Emerald Stair is not itself these days.
Well, let's go. That Adragon's heart isn't gonna yank itself out.
Ado, welcome, my friends.
Oh, it's you. Leave me alone, all right? I'm not looking for trouble. Maybe, maybe not. What's it to you? Well, don't tell anyone I'm here. That damn fool Wolf with his head full of visions. When he wanted to resort to violence, I knew I had to leave. I guess you must have seen something in him I didn't. Hope your mercy doesn't come back to bite ya. Maybe I'm brave, maybe I'm stupid. I'll find out eventually. In the meantime, I can sleep at night. Good luck out there.
Envoy, over here.
Good. You finally showed up. I was worried you weren't coming. The name's Keeledge. Pleasure to meet you. I can explain. Hilgard sent me to Emerald Stair to keep an eye on this place. I had orders to make contact as soon as you arrived. I won't talk long. He only wants me to let you know I'm here. If you need to get word to the ambassador, I'm your man. Besides you and me, no one that I know of. No one working for Heelguard, anyway. But I can tell you that even if Inquisitor Ludwig isn't here, her nightmare squad is. Between you and me, I think they're up to something. Something big and bad. I've got a bad feeling about this. I think the scale of their operation is dangerous. All right. I suppose I can do that. Exactly how far do you want me to go with this? Until later, envoy.
Watch the left. Watch the left.
Envoy? Well, that was interesting, right? The woman arguing about the crops failing? Standing up for what you believe against authority. I can respect that. Of course, my method would have been run away under the cover of night, never to return, but yeah, this works for her. It's more that I don't think my belief's worth standing up for. Life's simpler that way. Anyway, there's clearly more going on here than a bunch of animancers sitting in dusty labs doing whatever they do all day. Beyond that, nah, I can't help you. Call me when you're back to facing real danger. Right, changing the subject. Ask away. I haven't dealt with Dellamgon and blights and such all that much. They usually don't bother you unless you step too far off the trail. Of course, that's pretty much a given in your line of work, so we're all doing things we're not used to doing. Still, if you have a choice between upsetting the forest and not doing that, think about it. Maybe consider that the Forest and Emerald Stair are known to hold a grudge. There is something big in the southeast of the region. Most hunters say to stay away from there. I think you know almost as much as I do at this point, Amaku. Not sure what else to say. Let's see. Less urgency for shelter here. You can find shrubs to block the wind or tree cover to protect from rain. There's also plenty of food around too, if you know where to look. Rule of thumb, if it's red, don't eat it. Or if it makes you itch. There's also just about any kind of game you can imagine. Just make sure whatever you catch doesn't have mushrooms growing out of its face. Oh, and be careful when you leave the roads. You never know when that deer you killed was some Dellamgon's favorite pet. Right, changing the subject. Companions? It's just Kai, isn't it? As you know, Kai and I have worked together in the past. It's a blessed miracle he never got me killed. Honestly, he's a good guy. A bit too quick to ask questions for my taste, but Kai's good enough. Tell him I said that I'll cut a hole in your water skins. Oh, good. Let's have it. Because it's not that interesting, really, and knowing about it won't keep you alive, and I don't like talking about it. So why pry? Wouldn't you rather your wilderness guide be happy and unburdened by thoughts of his past? Ha! Not without a sharp blade or a barrel of wodak, you won't. When I was a child in Solace, a warden named Alinka taught me the basics. What berries to eat, how to build a shelter, and so on. Later, I started going out on patrols, just to get experience in the wilds. By the time I was 15, I was going out on my own. No, she died on patrol in the Ash Forest several years back. By then, we already hadn't been speaking for years. We had a falling out over me sneaking out of the keep a few times when I was 17. Well, the few times she knew about. Turns out I was just good at surviving on my own. So I kept doing it, and I kept getting better at it. Right, changing the subject. Anyway, what do you need? Thanks for talking.
You know, I've heard dueling is popular in the Valian republics. You wouldn't think a public argument could feel as brutal, but I'll be damned if Giada didn't draw blood. I wish I could say the same. Living Landers can be contrarian and combative. That's what sends a lot of us here in the first place. But it's still hard to swim against the tide with your own people, especially when it means getting them to face a hard truth.
Kai hinting? Believe me, that Nim dude isn't subtle.
He's right. I'd rather drink salt water than have a hard conversation. That's what I admire about Giada. She knows who she is and what she believes. She's got more clarity and conviction than I had at her age.
She has more clarity than you have now.
Hey, I am a willing victim of my own delusions.
Sometimes that just makes it easier.
Hey, don't worry. We're talking about Giada's situation.
Right. Like, what did you think I was talking about?
Anyway, this can't be an easy time for Giada, but I'm glad to have her on our side. What's on your mind? And troubling. What was it she said? The Steel Garrote will ensure the safety of Aedyran interests? I don't know, but it can't be good.
That Aedyran spy mentioned a Steel Garrote operation, too.
Yeah, he did. Stay sharp. A storm's brewing. And better if we can find it before it finds us. It's been years. It was always green and overgrown, but I don't remember it being quite this. Exactly. Something about Emerald Stair has always been unsettling. Everything in the Living Lands grows wild, but it's different here. Those giant roots, whatever they are, I don't remember them being quite as big or close to the settlement. Well, there's a thought to keep me up at night.
Oh, the Living Lands definitely hates us. That's why people like me even get work.
I don't like reading that much into things. Maybe that's why I'm still a bachelor.
Is that what it is? That wasn't even on my list.
Either way, when I wake up with night terrors, I'm waking you both up with me. Not a whole lot, and I've been happy keeping it that way. Playing around with essence, poking at souls, trying to move them out of and into places they shouldn't be, it makes me queasy. Though, if we're going to understand the Dream Scourge and your godlike lineage, I suppose we'll have to get comfortable with it. Still, I'm happy to leave those pursuits to other people.
Exactly. other people. People who are a safe distance away.
Not the same way Aedyrans do. We've got no laws against it. I've just always felt more comfortable with things I can see and grasp for myself. Then I guess it's better that you're the one with a connection to something in the beyond. So did my commanding officers. I'm well past seconds myself, if we're counting. Even decent people make mistakes, and the rest of us can grow with a little time and grace. If I had to list them all, we'd be talking all night. Anyway, if this place can't give us misfits and screw-ups a second chance, what hope do we have? That must have been 6 years ago now. I guess I was drifting, looking for a change. I was living in a settlement called Thirdborn. It's a rugged little place, lots of Rowatayan expatriates. You're pretty nosy, aren't you? Don't be. Things just didn't work out there. Let's leave it at that. I joined up with the Rowatayan Navy as soon as I was old enough. I was part of our campaign to establish a foothold in the Deadfire Archipelago. Starting out, it was exciting, purposeful. I believed in our mission. We were returning to our ancestral homeland, reclaiming fertile soil that would feed Rawatai. Additionally, we were helping Deadfire, bringing organization to the pirate-ridden archipelago and civilization to our distant Wana cousins. Yeah, the Wana didn't want us there. We spent almost as much time fighting the tribes as we did pirates and Wilder. And it was hard to see how any of our fighting and dying was feeding people back home. I'd always heard that war was supposed to temper us, strengthen us, but I didn't see that either. I deserted, and I bounced between different mercenary companies for almost 10 years. Hey, not all of us catch on so quick. Besides, there were only so many options for a Rowatayan deserter with no training and anything else. As a mercenary, I figured I could at least choose my battles and my crew. Yeah, it just took me a little longer to figure that out. Being part of a squad kept me going. For a while, anyway. By the time I came to the Living Lands, I'd seen enough. Had enough. I did. Yeah. For a while. Look, if I can give you some hard-won advice, stay on your toes. You're in a difficult position. Whatever your role asks of you, make sure it's something you're willing to give. Because you're the one who has to live with the consequences. Hey, advice is easy. The hard part's all you. What gave it away? My finely pointed teeth, or the striking blue of my scales? I usually hear that from someone who's enjoyed the height or position to fully appreciate it, but I'll never turn down a compliment.
I'll let you know if I think of one.
Don't be jealous that you only know me by my rugged jawline. As rare as we are in many parts of the world, it's nice to be appreciated as something other than a magnificent bruiser. Fair enough, my people are known to roam. Almost as much as Marius's more far-flung brethren outside the Living Lands.
Right, sounds like Pargrun and elsewhere know better than to stay cooped up in a keep somewhere.
Rowatai's hardly a hospitable environment. Many of us end up settling elsewhere or making a living on the go. That's where you get the popular image of the Amawa bodyguard or mercenary. A thump on the back and a crack on the skull from a brother who says you should visit more. It's complicated. I guess home usually is. Lashed by storms, battered by waves. We call it the rough country. And old trenchers say it's made us who we are. Then it won't surprise you that many leave. And not just because of the hardships. The land can't support everyone. Not that we don't do our damnedest to beat it into shape. Our coral masons have built living harbors and fortifications along the coast to protect our ships and shelter our cities. For all our shortage of fertile soil, Rawatai's land is abundant in saltpeter, copper, iron, most of the other materials you need to outfit your military with weapons and cannons. We value struggling and striving together. It helped us survive and build one of the most powerful navies in Aeora. You're not wrong, though my countrymen would point out that we had to expand to find fertile land to feed our people. And the scattered kingdoms we've absorbed in the process have joined one of the most advanced nations in the world. And that's what I like about the living lands, where most civic concerns are about as nuanced as a wall of sharpened stakes. Until recently, anyway. You're asking me? I'm not much of a gossip. Okay, who do you want to know about? Long enough that he's got a good roster of stories about my blunders in the wilds, which he'll remind us of constantly. He's got a soft heart under that gruff exterior. He feels things more deeply than he lets on. So, if he burns the stew one evening, maybe don't mention it. Give him time, and don't rush the process. Think of him like a skittish little cub. He just needs to get used to you, but he'll come around once he does. Definitely don't tell him I said that. Okay, but only if you let me turn that question around once I've answered you. I think you've been trusted with a nearly impossible task. When we first met, I thought that was because you made some powerful enemies back home. But as I've gotten to know you, I think that if anyone can stop the Dream Scourge, it's you. What's more, you've got your head and your heart in the right place. You haven't let your duties or loyalties get in the way of being decent and reasonable. At the end of the day, I'm proud to fight alongside you. And there you have it. Your turn now. Thanks. We've all got to be able to enjoy a little peace at camp, right? Sure. He was my commander and thirdborn, but he was more than that too. A mentor, friend. Tama helped me out when I first came to the Living Lands over a decade ago. I was still figuring myself out.
Was. This is you, having figured yourself out.
Hey, now I know I can't stomach rusk snout milk. As for what we'll find, I don't know any more than you. I'm hoping for a good baking mold, but who knows? All I know is he said it was his most prized possession. And seeing as he was on his deathbed at the time, I wasn't of a mind to ask. Where to start? The man couldn't carry a tune, but it didn't stop him from trying. He'd have the whole tavern singing shanties with him nearly every night of the week. He had a vexing habit of saying the thing you most needed to hear when you were least ready to hear it. He'd give you the shirt off his back and the meat off his plate. but the selfish bastard left the rest of us a world without him in it. Hey, you're not the one who did the leaving. That's why I've got to put this to rest. Check your bedroll for fangworms.
The Aedyr stirs, a crackle of light in a withered field. The bars stifle us. We cannot recall when last we spoke. Hollow faces in a line. What has come of this place? A hand of generosity, or a gauntlet of steel. We feel them. They bend and hone the essence of the earth. They draw from our veins like a well. What are these rituals? A new tongue, an unfamiliar name. A harvest grows, the dead rise. What do they hope to achieve? Lift the shroud from the wheel. They build walls in their hearts. Why do they not share what they make? Aedyr sleeps across the sea. We are not troubled by the laws of kith. What do you say? Fire that burns the forest feeds the soil with its ash. We have learned much. Dream of soaring wings in your repose.
Cos'è?
Part of me loves seeing nature reclaim these ruins. Another part thinks nature wants to calm itself. Trail goes through the ravine and into the lake. Careful where you step. Look at that. After you, envoy.
Think the Delimgon did all that? Or maybe the land itself?
You may approach. Ah, a welcome visitor. It has been so long since one of your kind has walked in this grove. I mean one from the land, your kind. But why have you come here? A curious thing for Kith to want. Even one as special as you. It belonged to one who tended this grove for longer than I have been here. Sickness changed them, as it has recently changed so many creatures in these woods. It no longer recognized us as their kin. We had to stop them before their madness damaged the land. But it is over now. All that remains is their heart. Our kind has no need for such remembrances. It would cause us no pain to part with it. Take it, and go in peace.
I can't believe you pulled that off. Now, let's get out of here before she notices my wood pistol grip.
For an Aedyran, you're very resourceful, and a more than capable companion for poor Giada. Nature is as stubborn as ever, I see. Fair enough. Here's payment for your troubles. Now that I've got the heart, my thirsty invention will drink deeply of its essence. All that's left to do is calibrate it. First things first, let's have a look at your soul. I'm going to ask some questions to induce a metaphysical quiver. No, not to worry, just testing your reflexes. Let's start with an easy one. You wake up on a beach, looking up into the sun. Your hands are covered in blood. All right. Let's try some word association. Tell me the first thing that comes to mind. Pendulum. Chrysalis.
A spark ignites a flame. An idea ignites a war.
Hello? You still with me? Strange. Shouldn't feel anything in the physical sense. No matter. Let's go over your results. Your soul is like a piece of sea glass. All the edges are smoothed down. Quite beautiful, really. Your godlike nature is a marvel to behold. Usually, all it takes is a mirror. Not my area of expertise, I'm afraid. What I see is something entangled about your soul. An outside presence that both is and isn't a part of you. It's old, dark, and rather tricky to pin down. Very interesting. That would be closer to Giata's area of expertise. I'm sure she'd love to give you a look. Fascinating. Thank you for getting my machine calibrated again. But you came for Giata's theory of the dream scourge. Between the two of us, she's on to something. Our farms are in great peril. The essence has been drained from the land. Diverted, like the flow of a river. And risk joining her in exile? No. Without this workshop, we have nothing. Regardless, essence doesn't just disappear. It must be going somewhere. All I can tell you is keep looking. You'll find what you're after. As much as I hate giving people bad news, that's all I have. Please give Giata my fondest regards.
Keep looking, huh? I'm getting a bad feeling about what we'll find.
Yeah, I'll be honest. He lost me when he started talking about souls. What did I miss?
I have to do something. I can't let anyone else discover this.
Why is it somehow worse when the Revenants aren't trying to kill you?
A godlike in Emerald's Den. Well, maybe our luck's improving. I'd offer to shake your hand, but I've been elbow deep in Beatrice all day. Sorry, I've been on my own for a while, and I forget how unusual this looks. As you can see, this is my reanimated corpse farm.
We can smell it, too.
I'm trying to demonstrate the value of undead labor, but of course nothing is ever that simple. What am I supposed to do? Just let them decompose? Reanimated corpses are the future of manual labor. Cost-effective, low maintenance, and very friendly. Now, Beatrice, she's being a real problem, if you can believe it. Would you be a dear and reach into her guts? Feel around for anything that doesn't belong. Giatta Castel wants my professional opinion. What an honor! I have a few theories, but no firm conclusions. I have to ask, is it true? Did Vidaro kick her out of town? He's a bigger fool than I thought. Very well. I'll tell you what I know about the Dream Scourge. But first, I need some help around the farm. I'm up to my ears in chores around here, and the Revenants can only do so much. They can't do complicated tasks, you see. Anyway, I'm afraid the time has come to put down poor Silvo. Silvo is one of my Revenants. My oldest, my favorite, and the pride of my flock. Someone needs to put the poor fellow out to pasture. And I just don't have the heart to do it myself.
Well, it's already dead. That's the hard part done right there.
When a Revenant goes bad, there's only one option. Final death. And poor Silvo's time has come. Outsiders and travelers down on their luck. You'd be surprised how many people want to sell their bodies to animancy.
Say what you will about mercenary and military life. At least your obligations end at death.
Anyone else see a downside to giving monetary value to corpses?
This is a good forever home for the undead. Better than some crypt, anyway. But sometimes we have bad days. They come to me for breakfast, and I let them wander the fields. Really, it's no different than raising goats. Thank you for understanding. You can find Silvo in the barn. He's blocked the door somehow, but the window should be open. Just be gentle with him. He's a good boy.
So, we're killing a Revenant then? She just couldn't come out and say that?
And this is why I don't take pets.
Watch yourselves. Take your best shot.
Well, that was fun.
Envoy, a pleasure as always. We're animancers. Hooking up equipment and seeing what happens is what we do. You see, the living lands is rich with essence, the energy of souls. We channel this energy into our fields, and that's why Emerald's Terre is the breadbasket of the living lands.
There's something poetic about the idea of plants eating souls to survive. Creepy, but poetic.
But as you can see, we've been dealing with some irregularities. Giata thinks so, and I trust Giata. Traditional farms depend on water, sunlight, and the mercy of insects. What you see here is no different. Animancy can change the world, but it's an uphill climb. People don't trust what they don't understand. Poor Silvo. He was a bright young revenant, but a very old man. Thank you for giving him peace. So, the Dream Scourge. I've been keeping an eye on the readings from my fields. This plague, as we know it, is a recent development. But I believe whatever causes it is older by far. Maybe even as old as the living lands. The exotic plants and animals, the twisted landscape, the Dream Scourge. They have a common ancestor. There's something about the essence in the living lands that's different from anywhere else I've seen. But how to find something so well hidden? Can something so metaphysical even be found? Not to get too superstitious, but in these troubled times, the arrival of a godlike is no coincidence. You are meant to be here. Toward what end, only you can say. Seems a little far-fetched. Then again, what isn't these days? You're a godlike, so anything is possible. Perhaps your nature will grant you more answers. Well, I'm happy to give her some good news for a change. You and Giata are going to shake things up. As for me, I'll be keeping a close eye on my flock.
Oh, and thank you for the nightmare fuel. I really have been sleeping entirely too well lately.
I'm remembering why people find this place unsettling.
The great mystery is, are godlike blessed or cursed? The gods are silent on this question.
Neither. They just are. Anything else is speculation. Didn't you hear that Giada was sent into exile?
Wonder if she needs a new research partner.
Or maybe a test subject?
We could do both. Anything to work with the great Giada Castel. Yvette, look what I found! A genuine godlike.
Oh my God, Remy, it's finally happening.
Do you think they can hear us?
Let's find out. Hello, me, Yvette. You friend? Remy, take a note. Fluent speech and upright posture show marks of sophistication in the endangered godlike. We heard that Giada partnered up with an outsider, but I had no idea you were a godlike. Fascinating.
It's just that we've never met a godlike before. This is a big day for us.
Giada must have sent you to be our test subject. She knows how we adore your kind. Satisfy our curiosity and we'll give you everything Giada needs to finish her research. Deal? We want to know about the godlike, of course. You're the first one we've encountered in the wild.
Let's begin the examination. If you could choose, who or what would you be in your next life? Next time you go around the wheel, you might not get so lucky.
Who wouldn't? My turn. Some would call you blessed. Others would call you cursed. The fact remains, you were touched by the gods. Wouldn't you say that you owe something to the rest of us? So, you believe we need your help. Interesting.
Oh, I thought of another. We all know that godlike can't reproduce. How do you plan on leaving a legacy after you're gone? Very optimistic, aren't we? I think that covers everything. Thank you for that brilliant insight, godlike. You're a credit to your dwindling kind.
So, Giada wants to know all about the Dream Scourge, yes? Such has been her research of late. Do you want the good news or the bad news?
There's no cure for the Dream Scourge, much in the way that there's no cure for an avalanche.
Giada will be interested to learn that the Dream Scourge cannot just be studied in a lab. Its nature is wild, so it has to be studied in the wild. Our machines and experiments would meddle with it too much.
And like anything affecting the soul, it must be connected to essence. Thus, if she wishes to discover more about the Dream Scourge, a pillar of Aedyr would be a good place to start.
That wouldn't surprise me. Both are natural occurrences, after all. Terrible, but quite natural.
Most natural things are. Terrible, that is.
An entity, you say? If this entity is your patron, that's all perfectly natural. But if it's something else, with enough essence and a capable animancer, perhaps you could trace this tether back to its source.
Right, and with a little fresh sake, you can follow an ogre back to its lair. Still wouldn't recommend it.
Just be careful that your tether doesn't snap back and kill you in the process.
Now that we've researched the mind of a godlike, the next step is anatomy. But we've taken enough of your time. Farewell.
Hurry, before they change their minds.
Ugh, I might have dozed off there for a bit. Were any of those words the ones we needed?
I have a lot of packing ahead of me, but I've earned a short rest. Good timing. I'm about ready to get started. So, did you learn anything of particular interest? Makes sense. You won't find a better source of energy. Look at us. Barely even started, and already we're making progress. Monto's machine is working, Elia will keep an eye on her revenants, and Yvette and Remy are providing us an alibi. I needed those animancers for more than their expertise. Monto's invention nullifies spiritual interference. Having it up and running means we won't get any false signals. Whenever I tap into an Aedyr pillar, Elia's farmhands tend to get a little bitey. Thanks to you, they won't be a problem. And then there's Yvette and Remy, the governor's eyes and ears. In exchange for privacy, I gave them a test subject. I'd call that a good day's work. Animancy takes a lot of preparation. You might only have one chance to run through an experiment. Now we just need the right equipment for the job. When my parents died, they left me their life's work. An invention like no other. The phantasmal focus. Think of it as a spiritual tuning fork, or a dowsing rod. It has many functions, some more obvious than others. The problem is it's in the basement. I haven't gone down there since the accident. Since they died.
I can't blame you for avoiding a place like that.
I would get it myself, but I'm not ready to face what's down there. Right now, I would rather focus on the work ahead of us. The door to the basement is just outside, around the corner. Of course, you'll need a key. Please excuse the mess.
That's where her parents died. I'm glad we can spare her from having to go back.
Okay, walking into the basement of an animance regiment. Right, feels great. Don't know what I expected, but this isn't it.
Haven from the blight. Who grows here?
I feel pretty certain that those people aren't supposed to be plants.
What a horrific fate.
Beauty reborn. A life of peace.
Gods. We can leave now, right?
Poor Giada. To think she's been living with this right under her nose.
I don't. Anyone know what happened back there?
I think those were Giada's parents, or whatever's left of them.
So they're dead?
Or something like that.
Gods, I can't believe this.
You're back. You found it. You actually found my inheritance. Did you see my mother and father? Are they still there? I didn't have the words. All that's really down there is an unhappy memory. One that keeps on growing. For the time being, that would be best. With the phantasmal focus, I can finally tap directly into the essence of the living lands. I can also use it to smack around anyone who gets in our way. Don't worry, it's more durable than it looks. Kind of like me. The only thing we're missing now is an Aedyr pillar. And I know the perfect one. Naku Tedek. The old godless ruin west of Fjord. There should be some equipment waiting for us. We used it to study the Aedyr pillar. Then some priests moved in and took offense at our work. I hope they haven't tampered with the equipment, or this will be a very short experiment. That rugged thing? It's as dry as a bone. Hardly any essence left. Even if it wasn't, I'm not exactly welcome in the workshop these days. That's your intuition talking. Listen to it. I wouldn't be anywhere without mine. Before we head out, let's make the most of our time in Fjord. No telling how long we'll be gone. I almost forgot. Someone gave me a letter for you. They said it was for the envoy's eyes alone. I may have glanced at the handwriting. Don't worry, your secrets are safe. And I hate to be a problem, but I do my best work in small groups. Chalk it up to performance anxiety. Works for me. This is a good opportunity to cleanse our place of rest. Spiritually, I mean.